All right, guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of the CX Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Brady-Cesana. Super excited for today's show, guys. We are being joined by Mr. Rick Elmore, the founder of SimplyNoted. Rick, say hello to the CX Nation, my friend.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
100%. So, guys, Rick and I were rapping the other day. He's got a super duper cool business, and so many of us customer-focused business leaders, we're always thinking about the customer journey. We're always thinking about all of the different touch points, right, that our customers or our potential customers are seeing and feeling and breathing and living. And Rick's here today to give us an awesome story about building his company, SimplyNoted, but also just to give us a bunch of different ideas for some of the things that have worked extremely well for him and his team as he's grown SimplyNoted over the last 5 years. So, Rick, I'll stop. You do the talking, my friend. Why don't you start off? Take the first couple minutes. Give us the stepping stones, brother. Give us a story. Give us a sense for how'd you get into this space, man? How did you get into this space that you're in today? And what were some of the early stepping stones that put you in a position to building your company, SimplyNoted?
Yeah, well, thanks. I do appreciate being here and an awesome introduction. I appreciate it. But yeah, I have a pretty unique background. I grew up playing sports, come from a lower middle class family, blue collar, grew up, helping my family on the weekends, going to my mom's office. My mom was a medical biller. I'd go there and hang out. But yeah, played sports growing up. Played football. It was like the love of my life. I just loved everything about it. I tried everything else. Just was not a good fit. I was always a bigger kid. I'm 6'5", so I was always, in physical. So hitting people and being tall kind of was like a perfect recipe for a football player. But yeah, I played for a long time. Went to the University of Arizona with my twin brother on an athletic scholarship at the Pac-10 back then. And I know the Pac-12 is kind of dismembering and falling apart right now, which is very sad because the Pac-10 and Pac-12 are like very nostalgic to me. I'd go play football on Friday and then watch Pac-10 football all day Saturday. But yeah, had a really good career there. Played for Mike Stoops, was a 3-year starter, and then got to live out my childhood dream and get drafted into the NFL. I was late round draft pick, typical journeyman. I've made way more money in my professional career than I ever did in my NFL career, and most people are like that, and that's what most people don't realize is just because you go to play professional sports, at least in football, it's the only professional sport that doesn't have guaranteed money. I remember my first contract. I signed with the Green Bay Packers when they drafted me. And my first contract was like a $3 million contract. Like when I signed it, I was like, yeah, like I made it. And my agent's like, Rick, the only thing you have is what you made today, like your signing bonus and the check for your week's worth of work. Like get to work, get
to work, make it count.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but I never got most of that money. But yeah, I played for 4 years. Typical journeyman career, and then I jumped into corporate America like most people in their first job. Got done, had no idea what I wanted to do. I had all these intangible skills, teamwork, passion, desire, perseverance, strength, resilience, how to work through adversity, how to compete at a high level, high pressure situations. So I had all the intangibles, but I just didn't have like any of the hard skills. And when I say hard skills, I think this is very important for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or you're a business owner or you own your own agency. You're always going to have hard skills to be successful in life. It doesn't matter. And I'm talking about sales, marketing, some type of skill that will be valuable to a business. And it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or you're dating, you're going to have to sell that person that you're trying to woo to want to be with you. If you're trying to sell a client, so I didn't have any of those skills. I just had all the intangibles. So I was in corporate for 6 years, had a really good corporate career. First year I was rookie of the year. And then next 5 years, I was top 1% or top 5 sales rep in the company. And that really was just like a marriage of, my football career meeting with the opportunity of, selling a good product. 2017 came around, just wasn't really happy. And this is kind of where like the Rick version 2.0 or 3.0, like the life I'm living now, happened. I went back and did my MBA. When I was really interesting 2017. I had my first kid. I was doing an Ironman, my first training for my first Ironman. Was working in my second corporate job was a medical startup out of Brazil. So I was trying to launch a product out of Brazil, which was really hard. And then I was doing the MBA and launching my startup. So it was like a very crazy,
pretty busy, brother.
Yeah, very busy 2017. But about a year into my program, and this is where the idea for SimplyNoted began. I was in a marketing class and I had a professor who was going over all the success rates in marketing, and everything was super nominal, super low, like single digit success rates. And it was all not exciting, all the traditional stuff, email, phone calls, cold calling, knocking doors. And then he ends the lecture on a very like interesting point. And this is like a light bulb moment for me. And I was in sales and I was always trying to learn ways to make me better at sales. And he says, hey guys, you know what works better now, if not better than ever, is a good old fashioned handwritten note. And like everyone's like sitting, I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, they get opened almost 100% of the time. They get opened 99.2% of the time. They're rare, no one does it, and mailboxes are empty. Think about it.
Yep.
Like, how many emails do you get a day? How many text messages? How many notifications do you get on your phone? When's the last time you received a handwritten note? And I was just like, like if I can get in front of my clients 99% of the time, that's going to make me more successful. So a classmate of mine and myself got to work. I have a sales and marketing background. I've launched a software technology, automation, robotics, industrial automation company. I have no experience in what I'm doing. It's pure passion, but I sent out 500 test handwritten notes from a really bad technology I bought from China, and the response rate was amazing. I just remember my quota was about $50,000 a month, and I sold $280,000 in sales in about 6 weeks. So it was 28 grand in commission. So I was just like, entrepreneurial seizure moment, and anybody who started a business understands what that is. Like, you get excited.
Definitely.
Somebody tells you your idea is going to work, whatever, you see some solidification of your idea. And I was so excited. So the first, we've been doing this for 5 years. So there's a lot of very steep, mountains and very deep valleys over the last 5 years, but it's become way more than I ever thought it would. We've created the world's only purposely handwritten robot. And again, I'm a football player with a sales background, and I've built a robot with 6 pending patents, a platform with 400,000 people that goes to it every single month, and over 46,000 clients over the last 5 years on an e-commerce automated software application website. So it's been a crazy learning curve, but I'm excited. The product that we're building, the business that we're building, where we're going, and where we're at right now.
I love it, man. So number one, Rick, thank you so much for sharing all that. That's awesome. I definitely have the first couple follow-up questions. So number one, we think about all of our listeners right now. You guys think you've got a hard transition going from job A to job B. For you, Rick, what was it like going from, NCAA, U of A, then into the NFL, and whether it was a journey with a couple different teams and a bunch of different organizations or not, like, what was it like going from that whole world into like a regular old traditional corporate selling environment? That must have been a transition. And what was it like? How did you kind of, what was your experience of kind of getting through that?
So I would say the majority, if not most, athletes who play at a high level have a very hard time in that transition. And so did I. For the first time in your life, you have nobody helping you. As an athlete, you had so many support structures because what you were doing was so different and so unique. Playing at a collegiate or professional level, it takes decades. It took me 15 years to make it to, or 17 years to make it to the NFL. And that was a lot of hard work. I had my parents, I had coaches, I had mentors, I had tutors. So many people. You had so many support structures in place. And for the first time, when you get done, you're thrown out to the real world and you have to think for yourself, plan for yourself. You have no help. Yeah. And so many guys just fall off the cliff and they can't recover, and they don't realize how well equipped they are for life after sport because of all these intangible skills they've built over 2 decades of being an athlete. And that's actually something I'm very passionate about. And I wish SimplyNoted didn't take up, 100 hours a day of my time, because I feel for athletes who make that transition. And I hope someday when we sell this company, we will sell this company. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dedicate my time, consult, help, do a podcast and talk about life after sport. That's actually the podcast. I actually have it written down. It's just like on the timeline, it's life after sport, but it's very hard. It's very hard. But I remember that first year doing in corporate sales, like I used to be the center of attention. Like people wanted to come talk to me, coaches. And for the first time, I was like talking to doctors, and doctors like hated me. And they're like, who are you? You're a kid, get out of here. We had to go to dinners with these doctors, my rookie year, my first year in medical device sales. And I had a manager who would drag out dinners for like 4 hours. Like we would literally like go to the bar for an hour and have a drink and then sit down for 2 hours and have dinner. And then we'd go to a different place. And I remember after like the first time I had that experience of trying to carry a conversation with a doctor for 4 hours, I got in my truck after dinner and I just felt like my head was going to explode. I was just like, I was doing some things to me that was so foreign, just like it was weird. It was hard, but yeah, it's really hard. But I think if you stay true to yourself, your internal instincts of like being a competitor, someone who's driven, somebody who wants to get out there and become the best version of themselves, which most athletes are, I think you will be successful. It's just a lot of people cave in on the pressure. And that's what happens with a lot of these entrepreneurs. And I know you asked, like, what's it like from, athlete to that and then W-2 to entrepreneur, but it's like between the ears. It really is. And I've heard that for 20 years. Like, oh, the biggest battle you'll ever have to, win is the one between your ears. And like, as an entrepreneur and a dad, and now being 35, that makes more sense than ever, because like there's, especially social media nowadays, and like people who just create stories like, oh, I was successful in 60 days. And if you're not successful in 60 days, you're not doing something right. And you're just like, right. And then you find out this person, is, been lying 2 years later. So, it's been an incredible journey, but I think it's mental toughness. If you have the ability to build up an iron wall of mental toughness and develop those intangible skills, being a hard worker, competing, perseverance, and then those hard skills, sales, marketing, engineering, something that creates value in every business, you are just ready to rocket ship for success in your life.
I love it, man. I think the one thing that I was immediately thinking that like any athlete, frankly, one of the biggest advantages they have, they get to the point that you were just getting at, Rick, which is like, this shit doesn't take 60 days, man. Just to make varsity football, you are working from Pee Wee up to Frosh, up to JV. You're like, it takes years just to make your varsity team, right? And then to be able to go up into the billion-dollar ranks of the NCAA game and that whole crazy world, plus NFL. Let's talk about one of the chubbiest little piglets out there. I mean, I love NFL and I'm a huge Bills fan, but like, let's call it what it is. To get to those ranks, you just nailed it, brother. It's decades of work and sacrifice and all this stuff. But I love what you're hitting at, brother, which is like, man, for the people that can play in that game, they can play in that space, they are so well suited for entrepreneurship. The idea of just chopping wood every damn day, the idea of consistency and daily actions and just not giving up, that's entrepreneurship. That's there's so many similarities there. So it's not surprising when you see so many, you're seeing now more and more and more young people. Look at the NFL even today. How many times are we seeing these awesome young athletes that are quitting early? They made it. Maybe they did make their couple $1 million or their $10 million. Now they're going to go invest in businesses and they're going to be entrepreneurial for the rest of their careers.
I would say 90% of your success is just literally showing up and doing the work every day. The rest is like out of your control. It's timing, it's luck, being in the right place at the right time, having a product that is just so revolutionary, having perfect product market fit. Those are just things like you just can't control. I started this business 5 years ago thinking this was going to be an easy business to build, a handwritten note who isn't going to see the value. This is so stupid. Every business should do it, right? Like if you're not saying thank you to your client, like it doesn't make sense for you not to say it. But like I've been doing this for 5 years and it's the same problems I had building my medical sales business. Like you think your product is so awesome, but at the same time, like your product has so many holes and you have to improve it, make it easier, listen to the feedback from your clients, build those relationships. And so much of every business, and most of the service-based businesses out there, it's relationship driven. It doesn't matter. Like I have clients that won't work with me just because they have a relationship with somebody else in a different company. It's just like,
totally.
And that's the world we live in. Like, and if you don't realize that, which again makes my argument even clearer, like say thank you and build, or my argument for our product even more clear. It's like, say thank you to your client, like build a relationship, because relationships will always win no matter what. They will always win unless, someone else's product is just ridiculously way better and the price is so low, but that, it's usually like predatory pricing and they're venture backed and they can be unprofitable for 10 years and they don't care, right? But most companies aren't like that. But it's been very interesting growing a business, the mental transition, personal growth, from from athlete to corporate to entrepreneur. I feel like I have like Stockholm syndrome to like personal growth. I just like challenging things. I run towards it, which most people run away from it. And it's like it can be a hectic, crazy way to live your life, but I enjoy it.
I love it, brother. Well, number one, again, I appreciate you sharing that. And that's why I love the show, is just hearing all of the different walks of life and all of the different tranches of entrepreneurs and executives and leaders out there building tomorrow's companies. I love it. Let's dive into the first CX pillar of team. I would love for you to spend a couple minutes. You and I were talking about it the other day, man. And you gave me just such an awesome lay of the land, but spend a few minutes kind of talking about how you got your team at SimplyNoted started, and I'd love for you to kind of walk through just some of the first plays that you had to run and some of the first investments that you made. Spend a couple of minutes talking about team, Rick.
Sure. Well, I could not do any of this in this business without my team. I mean, I have engineers, mechanical engineers, software engineers, electrical engineers. I have a back-end developer, front-end developer, SEO team, blog writers, blog updaters, I have a backlinking team, a PR team, and that's not to mention all the people that are inside our warehouse. You know, I have an operations manager who's been with me from day one, multiple operation team members who've been here for at least 2 or 3 years, 2 sales members and I guess team members, and then we work with a couple of agencies for like lead development and stuff like that. So it literally takes a village. And that forces you to grow in different ways that are very painful. For me, I'm very high energy. Let's go. We can do it. Come up with an idea. That was one of the things that drove me nuts about corporate. Is it took 6 months to do anything.
100% to do anything.
Yeah, because they always said it. You know, it takes 777, a big jumbo jet, forever to make a U-turn. Yep. Right. So imagine. And that's what I like about being in entrepreneurship. It's like, if there's a problem, here's a solution. Let's try it. Man. You know, and being with, I call it like herding cats, trying to get my, mechanical engineer to play nice with my software guy to play nice with my backend developer. And that's been a very challenging yet growth defining, I guess, thing for me in this journey, is learning how to manage extremely different personalities and get them to play together. Because my background is like type A, black and white. Like, you either are great at what you do or you're not. You get fired if you're not, right? Yeah. And you can't do that in the real world. Like the NFL locker room, it's, you're just around the best at the best. And if they're not, they get somebody else in there who's better. And you just can't do that in the real world, especially in startup. You got to be patient. You got to give people time. You got to build the trust, make sure they trust you and give them time to kind of, it's like a seed. I always say it's like growing a garden. Like, I garden at my house because it's like a metaphor for me. It's like you see it grow over time versus like results now, which everybody wants results now. So doing something like that has really helped me. Like, when I'm having the anxiety and the stress from the office of things not getting done, I go home, I see that, and it reminds me, of just to be patient. Things take time, and everything's going to take way more time than you think, right? I started playing football when I was 7 years old, and it took forever to get to the NFL. Like, I thought this business was going to take me 5 years and I was going to exit and say peace. Some people can do that, but this is going to take me, much longer than that, probably 10 years or longer to build the vision I had. But as you learn this, as you get in, you start opening doors, you're like, uh-oh, what's behind this door? Ooh, bigger problem. And you get through that door and you go to bigger problem. And that's just life, right? And you have to push through and fight through adversity and win. Just never give up.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you're spot on. I know with my experiences with building CX Chronicles, I leave this world of being a CX and a CX practitioner. I work in all these different, venture capital backed groups in New York City. I think I know everything about what all these different leadership teams are going to place bets on. I think I know everything about what they think is a fucking all-star versus somebody that's subpar. And then I get out to the real world, and over the last 3 years, you find out, number one, there's a lot of executive leadership teams that don't even realize some of the investments that they're making in the CX and the CS and the RevOps space. There's even more executives, to your point, that do not take the NFL mentality of best man or woman up in line. You get the job. If you're the starter, you're the starter. There's a lot of companies out there that favor tenure, and they favor time in the job. They favor, time and rank and command and all these things. It's not always the best guy or gal gets the job and gets the lead seat. It doesn't work like that in corporate America. And it doesn't always work that way in small business, right? There's a lot of favoritism. There's a lot of nepotism. There's
politics,
a lot of things.
Yeah, it's the politics, nepotism, but like you just said, the bigger companies I feel like are more disorganized. Like people aren't on the same page. Like when I was in my corporate career, I never knew what my managers are doing. I didn't know what our product developers are doing. And I remember that when I'm here with our team, like in my head, I may have all these ideas and having these conversations with big clients, but filling in our sales team who's on the front line every single day, like giving them the information I never had at corporate America prepares them to have bigger and better conversations with newer clients.
100%.
So, and we would never figure that out. Like they would want to talk about a product, and I get why they do that. They don't want to, get people distracted, but it just makes things really hard when you are such a part of a big organization. And like you just said, there's all these cliques and politics and nepotism. It doesn't feel like a family, and I hate the word family, but like a team, it doesn't feel like a team. And sometimes it
Yeah.
actually feels like
Yeah.
you're playing against each other. I
Totally.
think here we are a team. We have to rely on each other. Like if we don't, we're a self-funded startup, and if
Yep.
we don't close and we don't collect, we don't have jobs. So we all rely on each other. And a corporate
Totally.
job, it's like, hey, I don't like that guy. Let's get him out of here. I know my wife's cousin's nephew needs a job, and I would trust him over that guy, and I don't like him anyway. So let's get him out of here, right? And these people
Right.
build silos around each other, which I never liked. It's like these upper middle management will, hire their friends and build this silo protection wall around
Yep.
them. And they kind of do that from job company to company to company. It's so funny. Like these guys just travel with each other and do the same thing.
It's almost like
Yeah.
it's Game of Thrones instead of
Yeah.
something collaborative and like
Shit.
inspirational and like
Yeah.
yeah, you're on the spot. And then on top of it, that creating of tranches or that creating of silos or busting down bridges or breaking apart electrical and plumbing from silo to silo, that
Yeah.
often is what it limits or it disables a business's ability to remain, to your point, fast, quick, agile, disruptive, keeping a pulse on what the hell's going to come up and blow them up in the next decade or the next 20. And like, and it's
Mhm.
funny, man, but that's because humans run these businesses, and it's tricky, it's hard. And as businesses get bigger, you
It
see
does
more and
get
more and
hard.
more. So,
Yeah.
so this is awesome. So Rick, number one, thank you so much for kind of sharing some of the things that you kind of learned with your own team. And then thank you for kind of plotting out some of the different players that you've had to put onto your own field over the years. I'd love to jump into second CX Pillar tools, man. Spend a couple minutes talking about, I'd love to kind of understand, as you were getting SimplyNoted up and going, as you got your first sets of customers, you started whipping a bunch of these awesome handwritten notes out in there into the world to your customers. What did you guys have to kind of do for your tools and your technology? I guess what were some of the initial investments you had to make? What were some of the challenges that you kind of were seeing in your specific space? I'd love to just kind of understand how you and the initial team kind of went about building out your tech stack or
Sure.
thinking about tool utilization.
Sure. Well, both companies I worked at previously, corporate companies, we didn't have a CRM. Like we didn't have a formal CRM. We used Google Sheets, like or a spreadsheet or an Excel file. So when I started my company, I had no idea about anything. I had no idea about building websites, no idea about CRMs, automation tools, social media platform management systems, and nothing. So all these things I had no clue about. I've had to self-teach myself. Like I had to Google Analytics, how to get my website connected to Google Analytics, how to do SEO, how to create a blog, how to submit a blog to Google to rank. Like that's a thing. You can tell Google, like, hey, I want to put my blog on Google. Like you can submit that. I didn't know how to do that. Like all the Zapier automation stuff. A big thing that we're just getting now, and I'm embarrassed to say that, is a ticketing system for customer support. We have so many inbound emails that like literally is suffocating. And I didn't even know there was something like that existed. And how I figured this out is I just talk to people and tell them about my problems and wait for somebody to recommend something that makes sense. And that's how really I've done this. I've just sought out people who are smarter than me and have been, what do you call it? Not embarrassed whatsoever. It's like shamelessly ask them questions, like even though how
Absolutely.
dumb it may
Definitely.
be, I don't care. I don't know. And I
Yep.
just try not to ask repeated dumb questions, try to ask a smarter, dumber question, not like the same. So, I mean, I've had to do that, like we've been on 3 different website hosting platforms over the years and didn't understand anything about any of them. Like we were on Drupal and then WordPress and now Shopify. And I know the benefits, pros and cons of both, how to set up an email. I didn't know how to set up an email like
Yeah.
on
Yep.
GoDaddy. And so I've had to do all
Yep.
this stuff. So And then we've built our own robot. We build our own motherboards. We build our own custom handwriting engine, our own software that drives robots. We built our own mechanical robots. So I feel like I've pushed 40-year corporate, maybe 50-year or 100-year corporate career in the last 5 years of knowledge into this brain. And that's one of the things that excites me is like, no matter what happens with SimplyNoted, like I know, like with what I know now, I'm just better prepared for success in the future because of all this self-taught education that I've had to do as becoming an entrepreneur. And most entrepreneurs will get this because you have to solve every problem when you're a business owner. It's like when you're an employee, it's like, oh, not my circus, not my monkeys, like above my pay grade,
Right.
it's not my problem. Like
Right.
you as a business owner take your problems home and you can't get them out of your head. You have vivid dreams about them and they will continue to nip at your heels and drip you out, stab you in the back until you solve them. So I've had to solve so many problems, and it's exciting, but it's like I said earlier, as you open every door and you go to the next level, what got you to a $2 million business won't get you to a 10, right? And you're going to have to overcome even bigger, more expensive problems to get to that level. So, self-education, I use YouTube a lot. I use Coursera a lot.
Awesome.
Coursera for general knowledge. But to be honest, it's shamelessly asking to take someone to coffee or just getting on a phone or a Zoom call, talk to them, show them what I'm going through. Fiverr and Upwork, it's really hit or miss. Being able to have VAs to kind of offload a lot of the mundane, repeatable tasks, and then using tools that are out there. And this is a hard thing. I think it's a great thing that, as a business owner, it's easier than ever to launch a business with all these tools that are out there. But also every time you go online or Google or YouTube, there's a new tool every single day, like a new company, new AI tool. And this may be a little nugget for anybody in here who's listening. It's really hard to put your blinders up and not get distracted by the new shiny object syndrome. You can have, and here's just an analogy, like you can have a Phillips head screwdriver, and to a skilled craftsman or contractor who knows how to use that one simple tool, that tool can be an incredibly powerful tool to that one person who knows how to use it, right? Versus, somebody who doesn't know how to use it, right? You put it in their hands, he's not going to know what the hell to do. And that's what happens 100%. With all these new tools. It's like you have to commit. You have to have silos. You got to have an automation tool. You got to have an AI tool. You got to have a CRM tool. You got to have all these things and figure out a way to get them to work together. And that's really where I've been the last 6 to 12 months, is trying to get all this knowledge, get systems and processes in place to scale. And a lot of people will rocket ship into a ceiling and stop because they don't know how to grow. And then they don't want to pay the $50,000 for consulting for someone to come in and spend 2 weeks and help them do that because they don't believe it can happen. But yeah, it's just a lot of self-education, being curious, I call it, $5 consulting. Who's going to say no to free coffee or free lunch or free dinner?
It's true.
Plus you build a relationship. But there's so many tools out there. If you can't solve a problem, you're just not trying hard enough. I'm a sales guy, and I've built a robot and an e-commerce platform that has 400,000 people going to it every single month. If I can do it, you can do it. It's just persisting through your problems, giving it time. It takes time, and being patient, because it doesn't matter. And I'm a control guy. I'm a control guy. Like, it makes sense. If I do this, I should see this result.
Totally.
If this, then that. But sometimes it just doesn't work like that. So it's a timing thing. It's luck. And sometimes it's, it works out, but sometimes it doesn't. So you just got to accept that and hold on for the dear ride.
Hold on for the ride. I love the comment you just made, though, about cause and effect. If this, then that. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned from having just the absolute fortune of meeting with so many incredible customer-focused business leaders from all sorts of different types of businesses, different types of spaces, different subject matter expertise, different products, different ways. It's that what you just said right there. Is most entrepreneurial and incredible executive leaders, they understand cause and effect better than any other human base. Meaning most humans, getting back to what you said at the beginning of this call, well, maybe, so much is out of your control in life, no question about it. But if you understand cause and effect, and if you understand even at scale how to do if this, then that, you are controlling a bit of the equation more so than you believe. The other thing too, back to that consistency piece and showing up every damn day, the more you do cause and effect, whether it's over a year, 5 years, 10 years, over one customer, 100 customers, 1,000 customers, 10,000 customers, the better you get at dialing in if this, then that. And then success all of a sudden, or your luck, becomes a whole hell of a lot easier to obtain, right? Because you're actually making these little improvements, you're making these pitches, these pivots, these ebbs and these flows. And frankly, that's another reason why people say, oh, he was overnight success. Yeah, right. It took 10 years to build the damn thing into what it became. You're just seeing what happened over the last year or two, right? And so it's just another thing for our listeners to be thinking about. One other thing I want to call out real quick, Rick, that you just mentioned, having an entrepreneur or having somebody who is forced to have to learn all of the different things and wear all of the different hats. And I absolutely know this with just my own personal journey with building CXC. Man, those people are badass and they're dangerous because they're not afraid to learn, and they're not afraid to. You called this out, but a lot of people have a high level understanding of your fear and your comfort zones, right? And obviously, the more you can get into a fearful place, the more you're stretching yourself out, the more you're thickening your skin, the more badass you're becoming, right? The more you stay in your comfort zone, probably won't change. You might keep getting better at whatever it is that you're comfortable about, right? If SEO is your thing, or if customer support is your thing, and that's all you ever want to do, stay in your comfort zone, do that. But big, badass, hairy opportunities probably aren't going to present themselves as much. And then by your way of reasoning and just storming through all these problems and becoming almost like just a problem solver across a variety of subject matter, that's where value starts to shine, especially with executive leadership groups, ownership groups. Like, people want to employ those type of people, but also people want to do business with those types of people because you're getting more than just a product or service. You're getting a partner out of the deal. So I love all the stuff that you're laying out here, Rick. And thank you for sharing some of the investments and some of the things that you guys had to figure out with SimplyNoted as far as just building on your own technology capabilities over the last 5 years. I'd love to dive into the third pillar of process. You started to hit on some of this, but I'll keep the question simple. How have you kind of, like, with everything that you're laying out, right? You've had all these different team members you've had to bring on. You've had all of these different tools and technologies you've had to invest in, build, integrate, all that fun stuff. How have you kind of thought about wrangling, like, your process over the last 5 years as the business has grown, as you've built your community, as you've brought more and more and more potential customers and actual paying customers into the fold? How have you kind of thought about how you wrangle your process, or how you guys keep track of, like, your knowledge base or your living playbooks? I'd love to kind of understand some of the things that you sort of learn along your own journey as it relates to managing process.
Sure. Yeah. So every business has tons of problems. I think me included, I think most business owners kind of get wrapped up in their own head. They get overwhelmed with everything they got to solve. But some simple, like, things that you can do to start taking steps towards solving those problems is just literally writing every single one of your problems down. Like, for a whole day, don't try solving it. Don't try working on it. Just go about your day. Every time you think of a problem that you come across, if it's, sales related, marketing related, production related, operations related, development related, whatever, just start writing them down. Wait a whole day, sleep on it, and then come back to it another day. So come back to it a day later, 2 days later. So when your brain has had time to, like, reset, because as you see this list of problems, you start to, like, get overwhelmed. But what you do after a few days is you take that list and you reorganize it from smallest, so easiest, right? Easiest to solve to hardest to solve. Or you can break it up into, segments: sales, marketing, whatever, operations, development. And again, you still organize them from smallest or easiest to solve to hardest to solve. And then you can, if there's people that you have that can help you solve them. So I offload a lot of our tech stuff now. We hired a CTO about 12 months ago. So anything tech related, I just send it to him. We're lucky now, 5 years into the business, but I can pay for that. I couldn't pay for that 4 years ago. But what you do is it's like the snowball effect. You solve a little problem, and then you're going to feel good. You're going to get that dopamine. And it's like, oh, thank God that's not there anymore. And then you're going to solve the next one, and then the next one. And what you're going to start doing is you're going to train your brain on, hey, I can fix problems, right? And now you're starting to build confidence. Like, hey, like, I know how to do this, right? And as you solve problems, you're going to learn, and then you're going to start stacking skills, and those skills are going to help you solve bigger problems. And before you know it, you're solving problems. The 5-year older version of you is going to be incredibly proud of who you are today. And that's the way I look at it. Even though this has been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, this is harder than the NFL 10 times. Like, it's 100 times harder than becoming a professional athlete. But seeing where I was in 2016, 2015 as, like, a sales rep at a medical company to where I am now, like, I'm incredibly proud. Like you were saying this earlier, I forget why you're saying it, but like the confidence you build when you start learning how to solve your own problems and rely on yourself and create
Yep.
value, you worry differently. You don't worry about the next paycheck. You worry about, you know, becoming better, learning. You start worrying about not becoming the best version of you. And I think in
Yep.
those development years, the 20s and 30s, and that's where I'm kind of in right now, you're learning. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be throwing
Yep.
yourself into the fire,
Yep.
being constantly uncomfortable. And really, people have three careers. And that's the way I've looked at it. I kind of had like that professional corporate career. Now I'm in my
Yep.
entrepreneurship career. I know in my 40s and 50s, everything I've done in my teens, 20s, and 30s are going to launch my 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just about not getting overwhelmed. It's getting organized, understand that it's going to take time, organize them from easiest to solve. It's like the Dave Ramsey money thing for paying off
Yeah,
bills.
right. Thank you.
Pay off your
Yep.
smallest bill, then your next
Yep.
smallest bill, and then compound it. You feel good about it, and it gives you the momentum to keep going. And that's the only way. Seriously, it's the only way. I do obsess about my problems, though. It's probably a little unhealthy. I'm very competitive.
As many founders do, my friend.
Yeah. Excuse me, and I've learned that. But that's where I'm at now. My journey is learning how to, and it's really hard learning how to shut it off because and I don't know, like I still like have that incredibly competitive, driven, passionate desire to keep growing. And I think that's just like an innate feeling that's in me. It's like a fire that just burns hotter and hotter every single day as you see progress. And it kind of, I hate to say it becomes addicting, but when
It
you
is
start seeing the fruits of your labor start to work, you're
totally
just like, you know, like
100%.
you just want to
Yep.
go, you know, it's because you see the potential, you see it and you feel it. And if you believe it, it will become a reality. It's just win. And that's what we're saying.
Yep.
If you think 5 years, it's probably gonna be 10. You just gotta be patient. Just gotta be patient.
So a couple things. Number one, I love the number one thing, simple thing. Write it down. I probably don't talk about this enough on the show, but like CX Chronicles, it was literally about chronicling the things that are happening across your team, your tools, your process, your feedback, to be able to build off the history, right? Every great civilization, every great company, every great sports team built on history. There's things that happened in the past that those entities figured out how to leverage for the future, right? And like, so chronicling and writing it down, freaking love it, man. It's just such an easy way to do it. Here's the other thing I've learned. I for a lot of our listeners, when you heard what Rick just talked about, stress and just like managing some of the constant things that are dinging around in your head, writing it down is this weird subconscious human hack of being able to empty some of that, because the minute that you know that it's not bouncing around, that it's sitting in a spreadsheet or sitting in an Evernote or sitting in your HubSpot doc or wherever that, or your Google Doc, wherever the hell you're dropping that stuff, you've just effectively dumped it into a place where then it can be organized. And I love how you start talking about like, then you can start prioritization, Adrian. The other thing, last thing is this, man, like we do this with our clients, Rick at CXC, but like on the CXCS RevOps side, we'll start to identify CTAs, right? The calls to action, they're sitting right in front of the team, inside of the tools, within their processes, and based on all the feedback that we're collecting. And you'd be amazed at how many companies that are crushing it. They're doing they're doing over $20 million a year sales. Just the simple act of having top 10 CTAs monthly reported to the leadership team becomes a game changer, because no one was able to articulate or actually deliver a tangible view of, all right, the last 30 days of business, here's the top 10 things we figured out. The second part is this. You started talking about marketing stratification or sales or ops or product. Companies struggle with this, man. So many times companies just need to be able to see the top 10 things or the top 5 things in a cleaner view. Like, show me the finance CTAs, show me the sales and marketing CTAs, show me the retention of the customer success, because all of a sudden that makes it easier for an executive leadership team that's got 1,000,010 things getting thrown at them every damn day to simplify stuff, right? Every human, I don't care how much money you make or how big your executive package are, every executive in the world wants things simplified. They want it a little bit easier and a little bit more digestible for them to be able to kind of figure out what the hell type of decision they want to make or how they want to support something. So I love those ideas there, brother. I love them. One quick question before I let you jump off process. Any tools, or I know you laid out all these incredible things that you've been doing with the technology, some of the investments. Any tools that have helped you with that? Has there been any go-to solution that's really kind of made it easier for you to be able to keep track of that process? Is it sitting in a Google Doc? Is it sitting in a spreadsheet? What's been the tool that's allowed you to keep dumping ideas out?
Yeah, so for project management, we use Smartsheet. So I mean, there's tons of little project management tools out there that you can use. Again, this goes back to the screwdriver. Whatever screwdriver story I told you earlier. Find something that works for you and learn how to become a master of it. There's always going to be a new tool that comes out 3 months from now, even daily, because of all the AI stuff. But get a tool that works for you, master it, and train your team on how to use it. And that's how it's going to become the best for you. But yeah, we use tons of tools. Smartsheet for project management. We use Jotform. We're switching right now from HubSpot to Go High Level. They just have a lot more integrated tools that we're already using. Like we were using 3 different tools for our CRM before, and they have it all in one. So we're, for the first time in 5 years, I'm going from HubSpot to Go High Level just for a lot of the lead marketing and sales management.
Nice. Yeah.
And then all of our automation stuff goes through Zapier. It's just the most user-friendly, easiest no-code automation tool out there. What else for tools? I mean, I feel like I use them all.
No, that's great.
I do all our SEO now. And we talked about this before, but it's just something that was so important in our business that somebody else wasn't going to give it the attention it needed. So I had to self-teach my art, self-learn. And I use Ahrefs, Surfer, Jasper.ai, all the PR tools that come. I mean, there's tons of PR tools out there that you can use. Use virtual assistants through Fiverr and Upwork to manage a lot of those. I'll quarterback it, so I'll draw out actually in a Google Sheet for all our SEO work. I'll quarterback it out. I'll lay it out what they're supposed to do, and every day they go in there and just check it off once they get it done. So yeah, it's just developing systems, and I think compartmentalize your problems, have systems for each of those compartments, and train people on those systems so it's not hectic. And my inbox has 4,989 emails right now, so it's getting a lot of that important work out of your inbox and having systems. Again, that's where I've been, and it's hard because as your business grows, your systems will grow and change. So it's like Definitely. I feel like I'm redoing a lot of work because of the changes that we're putting in our business, but look at its practice. You're going to be like, but I'm doing this all the time and it always changes and it's repetitive, but look at its practice. Like when I was playing football for a long time, every single day, well, after stretching, we did individual drills, and all it was fundamentals. So we did the same exact thing for 20 years. It was footwork, hand placement, pad level, technique, timing, and that was literally the most bare basic minimum. We did that forever. So when you get mad that you're doing things over and over, just improve on it. Learn and just look at it as practice, but make sure you're improving on it. You don't want to do the same thing and expect a different result. That's called being crazy, right? Just be obsessed with progress. If you're obsessed with progress, obsessed with learning, actually learning why it failed, you're going to be a dangerous person to compete with, because most people aren't like that.
I agree with that. And an awesome segue into our fourth and final pillar of feedback, Rick. So you just said, like, be willing to improve, listening, hearing what people are saying. I'd love for you to spend a couple minutes kind of talking about some of the ways that you guys have sort of managed some of your customer feedback as SimplyNoted. And then I'd love for you to guys to think about the same way that you've managed some of your employee feedback as well.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about this. We were talking about this before, but we run a platform that anyone can use, and it's really challenging because a realtor who wants to send one card for $3, goes and uses our website to a business who wants to send 100,000. In every business, and we all say we want to treat everybody the same, but just some clients require more, or they're more invested, and it's really hard. It's really hard to make everybody happy. And I don't care who else is out there. There's going to probably be some keyboard gangster out there that's going to judge me for saying this, but as your business grows, your business has to grow with your business, and you have to pay attention to, what's working and what's not working. And that's where we're at right now, being 5 years, is trying to pivot towards taking care of the B2B sector, our consistent clients, because for the first 5 years, any startup, you're going to take $1 from anybody because you need to put the money back in the business to grow.
100%.
And it's just not fair. And look at it like this as a business owner. It's not fair to all your clients if you give everybody the same exact amount of time, because that person who's spending 10 grand should demand a lot more of your attention. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, I have a system and automate it. if I'm spending 15, 20, 30, 40 grand with somebody, I don't want to be a part of an automated system. I want to talk to somebody and make sure that whatever I'm paying for is getting done correctly. And yeah, all our worst, we have bad reviews, and all of our worst reviews is that one person who spent $3, or that one guy who took, needed 10 meetings to spend $10, right? And impossible expectations, right? So we're trying to pivot, but we're trying to take care of the business to business side. But for our employees, we have one rule here. It's like, if you're going to present a problem, like, you see the problem because it's not working, like in your mind, like it should be trained on thinking, hey, it doesn't, you should come up with a solution. If you're going to present a problem, critically think and come up with a possible solution, regardless if it's right or wrong.
Definitely.
Don't just be that person in your company who's just the negative. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Because you're going to get trained to focus on the negative versus rewiring your brain, right? We're talking about writing everything down, building up the momentum, the positivity. When you think of a problem, you should be thinking through it methodically or conceptually, why this is a problem, how can we make it better, and how would this, work in line with all the other systems and processes are in play. And you're training, your team to think like an executive, not just a, point out all the problems, poor me, negative, because we all have problems, every business. My wife is in a very, very big company, and they struggle with problems I never thought they would struggle with, but every business has problems. It's being proactive and positive and staying on top of it and wanting to make it better. And that's what the culture you want to build. Is like, tell me the problems, but bring a solution and let's work through it together. And you want to have like that open door, not mad, policy. Like, I know we have problems and I want to fix them, and I want to make your life easier. And how can I make your life easier is making this better. So let's do it together.
I love it, man. And you're right. Some of the most innovative, some of the fastest, most incredible performing companies on planet Earth, they're just nasty at solving problems. They've just put together a team of humans that are incredible at collaborating and problem solving. And then typically they're problem solving on problems and challenges that have big, huge, massive markets around them. So Rick Elmore, this has been fantastic, brother. Before I let you go, last question. Where can people find out more about you, sir, and get in touch with you? And where can people find out more about SimplyNoted if they're super interested in figuring out how they can incorporate handwritten notes and all the awesome work that you and your team are doing into their customer experience and into their customer journey? It's such an easy way, guys, to touch your customers. So think about this as an opportunity for when you're kind of redesigning some of the journey mapping you're doing, guys. But where can people get in touch with you guys, Rick?
Yeah, it's just SimplyNoted. It's just S as in Sam, M as in Mary, PLY, noted.com. Or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. It's basically the only social platform I use. It's just Rick Elmore, ELMORE. And then we do a really good job of sending a nice sample kit. I mean, it's free. Just go to our website and you'll see like the call to action button right in the middle of the screen, request a sample. And we'll send you guys a free sample. We get, tons of those sent out every day. You may get some automated emails, but if you just want to see it, just request it. We'll get it to you in a few days in the mail. And then what happens usually is people see it and they get really excited. They're like, no way, I thought this was printed. And then they see it's written with pen, lick your finger and smear the ink. They'll see the pen indentations. They can see the videos, the robots writing, and they'll come back to us. Usually people come back to us 6-12 months later, like, hey, I have an idea. And the holidays, I don't know when this goes live, but we're in Q4. The holidays is our busiest time of the year. So
I was just gonna say, this has got to be your busy time, right? You're ready to that Q4 rush.
Well, it's just end of year. People are making end of year purchases, and what business doesn't send out a holiday card? It's like it's something ridiculous. It's like 80 billion holiday cards are sent out every year worldwide. It's like something ridiculous like that. So, so that's how you can reach out to us. But yeah, thanks for having me. It was great to be here and kind of talk some shop on some customer experience stuff.
100%. Rick, it's been our absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining the CXC podcast.
Thank you.